Have you ever dreamt about living off-grid? What does that look like? How about an eco-friendly off-grid community with a focus of conservation and sustainability? Are you looking to escape paying thousands of dollars for a mortgage payment, big loans, and fees? Maybe you are tired of living among a large population. Meeting neighbors and friends along the way makes it all worth it. Is it just a place to pitch your tent in the forest? Or maybe home?
I love Swan Lake. I love the people here. Every time I've come, it's always welcoming, friendly, and I like the idea of the off-grid community and not counting on society to feed us and supply us.
I feel great about this place.
You like it?
Yeah, everything is great. Absolutely.
Rare moments. The way the neighbors come together makes Swan Lake a truly unique place. An idea of where over 150 people by internet came together to buy and preserve this land from future development. Sometimes we deal with controversy, and sometimes we have fun. We get a lot of snow here living in the Boreal Forest. Having no way to clear the snow yet, a short 5-kilometer walk is required during winter months or with a sled. Working outside has its challenges, but doable. Now that the snow has melted, Swan Lake becomes shiny again. Cabin construction begins and everyone comes back out. Clearing brush is a never-ending task living off-grid. Building roads is an important maintenance on wet land and an extremely grueling job. Cutting, carrying, and placing logs to build a road is one of many tasks living off-grid. We work hard, we play hard. Eating delicious food and making sure the cat gets his attention. Being a Northern Ontario resident has made us more part of the community. We are more aware of conservation efforts and the beautiful nature around us.
Hi, my name is Justin Mallette. Just the peaceful environment. I've met a lot of nice people as well over the last year or so. Obviously it's pristine out here and there's lots of people who are like-minded and want to keep it that way, so I think it's a great place to be.
And how do you feel about living part of an eco-friendly community?
Similarly minded, that want to preserve the environment as much as possible. There's a lot of diverse people with different knowledge bases here, so it's been nice to interact with a lot of them and get to know them on a personal level. Yeah, it's really good. Seems like a good group of people. So, not living off grid yet. I'm in the process of getting there, but so far it seems like it's going to be pretty good.
Any negative experiences so far on Swan Lake?
Oh sure. I mean, I've got my truck stuck quite a few times. Broken my four-wheeler a few times. I don't know. There's been a few things. Like I've injured myself here and there. It's, you know, been a bit of an experience for sure. But I'm still standing, and nothing that I would like that keeps me up at night. Put it that way. So it's been a
Nice answer.
yeah, it's been a fun learning experience, but it's not nothing that I can't handle.
What's your end goals out here?
To live a quiet, peaceful life with my family, and to enjoy the great outdoors and teach them about our environment and where we actually live. And yeah, just I think it's a great opportunity to be able to live a life that is more in touch with nature, out in kind of like the real world, you know. I mean, all the world's the real world, but I think this is a genuine way to live your life just as well as living in the city. So yeah, well, I really enjoy off-road vehicles, so whether that be dirt bikes, quads, even trucks, like driving things for me is a lot of fun. So it's a good place to live. Our access road is like 5 kilometers of off-roading, so this is that's something I enjoy. Yeah, I do like fishing. I slowly getting into hunting a little bit. I enjoy all things, so like it could be gardening, doing work around the house outside. I enjoy all that stuff, so yeah, it's good. It took a lot of work to get things set up and running, and you can see that if you read through the bylaws, all the corporate documents, and I mean the server's pretty extensive with the amount of data that's there and documents, and people took a lot of time to make all that, so I think that's something that shouldn't be understated. And then I think from there it's been you know, people who care, that want to try to keep the organization moving forward. And I mean, obviously mistakes have been made along the way by various different people, and even up to currently, like we're probably making mistakes here and there, but we're trying our best. I think for the most part, yeah, they have fulfilled their duty. I mean, we have got the property transferred, and we're on our own, doing our own thing. You know, I don't think there's anything really outstanding. Obviously, there's lots of goals in the future. I know the road is a big focus and some other things, but yeah, no, I don't feel like there's anything really that they haven't done that they should have. Yeah, I used to be an environmental technician in Sudbury, working in the mines, and currently I am doing the finishing touches on my off-grid cabin here at Swan Lake.
So I'm Charles. I've been in construction for all my adult life. We don't know each other at all, except we're like, you know, I told some friends who are also bought in, and I've got to know some of my neighbors over time. But what brings us together is a desire to live sustainably, to do certain things. Like I'm very much interested in trying to provide as much of my own food from the land as I can. So, you know, the farming committee's active. We're going to start doing something next year, foraging and so forth, fishing. You know, we're all going to learn together how to live off this land. We're self-sustaining now in that I probably could forage enough off the land to live. Everything we do here is for ourselves. If I go vegetarian and live off the land, that might be possible in a few years, you know? Or at least by the spring, rather. We had chosen our sites. The process was there was an order of purchase, and in the order of purchase, we were allowed to choose where we wanted to live. They divided the entire 437 acres up into, I think, just over 500 half-acre sites, and then we sold off 137 acres, well, leased, that is, 137 acres by half acres. So there's 274 different sites out of the 500 and something. So there's about 300 acres of common, and I can see a little fraction of it, but I was 61st in line to purchase. Yeah, I got this wood stove, which I think is in the end going to be bigger than I need. In town, we're under the impression maybe that some of us were like effete city boys. We weren't going to be up to the challenge of living here below zero easily, 4 or 5 below at some nights. And if I ran this thing for an hour, I mean, it's sweating up here, even without the insulation. And from my front door to the Highway 11 is just right at like 6 kilometers, 5.9, sometimes a little over. About 4.5 of those probably are bad logging road that, you know, if you don't have a pickup truck or an ATV, It's, you know, and when it's dry, it's about, I've done it in 45 minutes, 50 minutes. I could walk to the highway. I walked in on the snow about a week ago, and it took me almost an hour and a half. Plus, it's not going to pay to plow the road for the 4 of us that are living here. So that road, like I said, is the biggest challenge on my mind. And I guess the only other challenge that's going on right now is about garbage. And for me, as an individual, that will decline. Like a lot of my garbage is generated around building materials, bags of insulation. And the garbage is a challenge. We've also, we've moved into a township which doesn't have a landfill. When I'm swimming in the river and I'm thirsty, I just open my mouth and drink. So water's a challenge in hauling it, you know, but the access to it is not as much of a challenge. Yeah, this is my last home.
I'm the chairperson of the Timiskaming Municipal Association. In September of 2021, with concerns that a village had sprung up in the Long Lake area, we pointed out that these villages were actually subdivisions without a plan of subdivision.
That's why it's important to understand when groups show up and suddenly say, we want to use a landfill, that has an enormous financial impact. They spend a great deal of money treating it, but they still also spend a great deal of money protecting their source water.
My spirit name is Ogima Benense, which means Chief Thunderbird. My given name is Tom Fox. I was born and raised in Kirkland Lake. Water is life. Without water, we're all done. It doesn't belong to us. It belongs to the Creator. Mother Earth doesn't have a voice. The wildlife doesn't have a voice. But we can be that voice and speak for Mother Earth and its wildlife. And it's okay for people to come and visit and enjoy. But to come and have a permanent impact that's going to be a negative one, that's not okay with me.
So Matachewan First Nation is extremely concerned with the BFMV developments. This concern is not just for the developments of this type in our traditional territory, but we feel that any major development of extreme density and size will cause significant, irreversible impacts to the lake. I have talked to the one investors at Swan Lake. They were very gracious to come and talk to me because there was this big it wasn't a misunderstanding, it was a misinformation. They're being told something by Mr. Barrett, and we're telling them something totally different. So there was a lot of stuff that was not told properly to these investors, you know, of what they can and can't do. And I don't blame the investors, I blame the system.
They want to live our lifestyle. They've come from Toronto to live our lifestyle. And in the last 20, 30 years, our kids have to go to the south in order to get work, including myself. I had to work down there because there was no work up here because there was no future. And now we're starting to get a future, and it seems like that you want it stopped. Swan Lake, they are not in our township. They are in their own township. So it'll be up to them to create their own waste management or whatever you want, you know?
Swan Lake group, which you mentioned, there is a core group that is trying to follow. They are the only ones who responded to the letter that was sent to the directors, not to Swan Lake. Two things to note. One is that there are 190 investors in Swan Lake. Ministry of the Environment will not do it. So what we have is a massive gray area where these groups are unmonitored and will not be monitored until they're in the 10,000 liter per day of effluent, and there is no way of knowing if and when they reach that because there's nobody monitoring it. So that is a huge issue.
I don't blame the investors. I blame Anthony Barrett and his partner because they, and I was told this by some of the investors at Swan Lake, they were told things that were not true.
Yes, my name's Amanda. I work construction cleaning, I guess. Construction cleaning and little odd construction jobs. I live in Guelph, basically around southern Ontario. I've always had this little dream in my head of like coming up and running away to the forest. When COVID hit, someone in my mom's group started talking about this organization that was actually doing it, and I went on Zoom calls and I creeped in on the Zoom calls and I would listen to you guys all get excited about everything, and okay, I'm just gonna jump in. If it doesn't work, then it's $5,000 I lost. If it does work, it's a great $5,000 investment, because I really believe in the values of a true community, everyone working together, sort of being able to trade your skills off, just being in nature and decompressing from the city life. It rejuvenates you. Even though it's a long drive, it really rejuvenates my soul coming up here. Coming up here, campfires, meeting people, and just being able to chill out.
What's one thing that you want to see in the future?
That farm down there. Contribute any way that I can, possibly. Hopefully in the future, being able to take more than a few days up here and actually like building part of the community. Drew's distracting me over here. Sorry. Rude. She's flashing me.
I couldn't help myself. Thank you.
What do you like about all this group team effort?
Well, I think it's great that everyone helps each other out. Everyone helps everyone get by. It's great.
How's the bugs today?
The flies are horrible. Well, you get used to it. Kinda.
Okay, so Drusilla Vivian, I live in Guelph. I'm a welder. I love Swan Lake. I love the people here. Every time I've come, it's always welcoming, friendly, and I like the idea of the off-grid community and not counting on society to feed us and supply us. Because I like what it has to offer. I like the peace and quiet, not the hustle bustle of the city, all the alarm cars going off and horns and ambulances and stuff. And I'm a firm believer that we should give back to our nature what nature gives to us. Of the high costs of rent or mortgage or interest rates on things. And yeah, I think if you can become self-sufficient and comfortable with who you are, you definitely have to be comfortable with your loneliness, because at times out here you are isolated. I love myself, so I don't mind at all. Ow! I've cleared some space on my lot, so it's got a nice flat surface for me to bring my pop-up trailer in. I've cut back some bushes and got my camper ready and set up. My favorite part about living here so far is just the people and how everybody's just willing to give a helping hand. And it's like the whole philosophy, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Like, so many places are going to get built quicker because of the help between each member, really. And the least favorite thing about Swan Lake, though, is the bugs. The bugs suck. But once you get over those, you're good to go.
So now, you see Swan Lake as a hard-working place with good people. Off-grid dreamers who want to preserve and nature our lands while also having a cozy home. Your own dreams can happen with a like-minded community. A potential to build your cabin in the woods. Group up with friends, family, or maybe start a Facebook group to buy land together. And in a corporation, grow a sustainable, eco-friendly homestead. All of this cabin and road building always allows for essentials, such as making blueberry jam or an off-grid sushi. Either way, we all have the possibilities to live out our dreams and somewhere to call home. Swan Lake is founded on the ideas of living off-grid lifestyle while enjoying the forest amenities. We are told to live in cities, find jobs, and live a quote-unquote normal life, while living an eco-friendly outdoor lifestyle is definitely possible with the right gear. We are free to go back to our human nature.